guys, for my MS people, if you can do the workout from the bed, if you can going down on the floor, just making sure that you've got carpet or something softer so that it doesn't feel too uncomfortable, especially if you've got floorboards or tiles underneath. So starting off, finding a comfortable position, and lying down on the back and keeping the knees bent or the legs are straight, whichever position feels comfortable for your hips and the legs. And then once you feel that the body is settled, allowing the arms to relax down, letting the palms turn to face, to open up in towards the ceiling, the shoulders to roll out, the collarbones to spread, the front of the chest to open. And then just taking a few breaths there, noticing where the breath is at the moment. If I feel that the breath is up into the collarbones, I can feel that when I breathe, it's my chest that is moving towards my face, it's my neck muscles, it's my collarbone, it's my chest muscle tightening, so it's that panic breath, is that sympathetic fight or flight breath. Then see if I can encourage the breath to drop down into the belly, encouraging that nice relaxed diaphragmatic breathing, encouraging the diaphragm to move inside of the rib cage. So see if I can hold the rib cage softer, the neck softer, the jaw relaxed, and then encouraging the breath to come down into the belly. Putting one hand on the belly, if that helps as a feedback. I want my breath to get into my hands. So I'm going to inhale, allowing the belly expand with the breath, and then exhale, I'm going to let it relax. I'm going to inhale it up, and then exhaling down. Just keeping that softer breath going. In the belly, now in the chest. Noticing how the body feels, noticing if there is tension, if there is a stiffness. Noticing if you're straight, if you feel slightly twisted, slightly wonky. Is my head is slightly to the right, is slightly to the left? Is one shoulder higher than the other? Is the pressure across the back different? I'm not changing the position, I'm not adjusting, just noticing where the body is at the moment and how it feels. And then same as usual, with the different options and the different movement. If you need a rest, take that rest. If you feel that the first option works the best for you, then don't progress it or regress it whenever you feel that it's getting too much. So once you're happy that the body's a little bit more settled, the breath feels a little bit more relaxed, then focusing on the neck first. I'm going to start turning the head gently from one side to the other. So encouraging the cervical spine to rotate from side to side. Noticing if there is any difference between the right and the left. I might find that on one side I can turn better, on one side it feels a bit restricted. You might be pinching slightly, making sure that you're not forcing, so you don't want to create pain. You're just trying to ease the tension. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. On the next one, I'm going to turn the head to look over one shoulder, and then keeping it there. At the same time as I'm trying to look over behind that shoulder, with the opposite shoulder, I'm going to press it down into the ground, just to see if I can encourage a gentle opening that from the front of the chest to come along the side of the neck, towards the jaw, towards the ear. If I want to make the stretch stronger, I'm going to keep pressing down with the shoulder, and then with the hand I'm just going to encourage a little pressure onto the side of the chin, see if I can turn the head a little bit more. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Use that pressure, turning the head back to the middle, turning the head to the other side, see how far I can rotate it the other way, and then keeping it there. With the opposite shoulder, I'm going to press down into the ground to see if I can get that nice opening that from the neck goes across the front of the chest. And then if I want to make it stronger with the hand, I'm going to press gently on the side of the chin, see if I can bring the head a little bit further around. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and easing back. Returning the head back to the middle, changing the direction of the movement. I'm going to get into a little skull rocker. So this time, see if I can lengthen into the back of the neck. So I'm going to tuck the chin down towards the chest, as if I was pressing the back of the neck down into the ground, lengthening away. Then I'm going to lift the chin up and away, as I was trying to look behind, lengthening through the front of the throat. Then tucking the chin in, see if I can encourage the stretch into the back of the neck, and then lifting it up, opening up through the front of the throat. Especially as you're extending, so as you're looking behind and making sure that at no point there is any pinching into the neck or there is any shooting pain going into the arms. So making sure that I'm not compressing the cervical spine, just trying to encourage movement into it. Noticing the tension at the front of the throat, is it pulling different right and left side? Noticing the tension at the back of the neck, am I centered? Is the pull even right and left? I'm going to try 2 more times. So looking back, tucking the chin in, last time, and releasing back. Returning the head back to the middle, and then I'm going to mix the 4 directions together, left and right, up and down. So imagine a little pencil strapped to the tip of the nose. I'm going to start drawing circles with that pencil on the ceiling in front of me. To see if I can cover all the possible directions. Drawing the biggest circle I can. Just making sure that there is no pain. Then I'm going to go around the other way. 4, 3, 2, 1, and releasing back. Returning the head back to the middle, and then from the cervical spine I'm going to move into thoracic. So starting off with extension flexion, I'm going to send the ribcage up and towards the ceiling, see if I can lift the back of the ribcage up and away. Then I'm going to push the ribcage down into the ground, and then I'm going to lift it up again. So creating as much movement into the upper back as possible, arching it up and towards the ceiling, pressing it down and towards the ground, arching it up and towards the ceiling, pressing it down and towards the ground. And then maintaining that movement going. If I feel that I can encourage a little bit more, then I'm going to add the arms. As I lift the ribcage up and towards the ceiling, I'm going to turn the palms to face up, and then pushing the back of the shoulders down into the ground, imagine to be bring the shoulders underneath the ribcage. Then I'm going to release. As I push the ribcage down into the ground, I'm going to curl the shoulders up and away, see if I can try and encourage them to lift. And then I'm going to open up and close again. And open and close again. 4, 3, 2, last one, and releasing back, adjusting the shoulders from extension flexion, going into little rotation, raising the arms up to the ceiling, clasping the hands together if you want, keep them apart if you rather, and then I'm going to start rolling from one shoulder over to the other, turning the head to follow the arms around, so looking at the arms as they move from one side to the other. Just notice the neck as the tendency is for the shoulders to start shrugging up towards the head. So making sure that the neck is still free, it's still loose. I'm just rolling from shoulder to shoulder. They keep staying still. The bum is on the ground. It's not going anywhere. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then see if I can now open up a little bit more. So clasping the hands together if you're not already. As the arms go to the right, with my right hand I'm going to grab hold of the wrist or the left hand, and then I'm going to pull on the left arm. So see if I can create a little bit more stretch going around the back of that left shoulder. Then I'm going to ease back, and then as I go to the left with my left hand, I'm going to pull on the right arm, see if I can create a little bit more stretch behind that right shoulder, and then to the other side again. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and releasing back, returning the arms back down by the side. This is a little bit more movement. Same as I did for the neck, I'm going to try and get the direction mixed together. So raising the arms up and towards the ceiling, clasping the hands together. Imagine to be holding a massive pencil in your hands at this time, and then I'm going to draw this massive circle on the ceiling. So I'm going to start reaching the arms back. I'm going to bring them around the side, towards the knees, round, behind, and then round again. Just making sure that the movement is carrying your ribcage around, so you can feel yourself extending, rotating, flexing, so I can feel the back moving. Just make sure that the shoulder is not grinding. So the circle is not so big that I feel that it's catching on my shoulder, is creating pain into my arm. 3, 2, 1. And then I'm going to reverse, going the other way. 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, last one, and releasing back. Releasing the arms, releasing the shoulders, and then I'm going to focus a little bit more into the lower back this time. Bending the knees, walking the feet up and towards you, setting the legs a comfortable distance, bringing the knees together, keeping them slightly apart, as whatever feels more comfortable. And then I'm going to start off with a little flexion extension, the same as I did for the neck, the same as I did for the upper back. So I'm going to tilt the pelvis back, I'm going to press the lower back gently into the mat, and then tilting it forward, I'm going to arch and lift away again. So I'm going to tilt the pelvis, pressing the lower back gently into the mat, and then back into neutral, and then a happy extension if I can. So see if I can try and create that nice gentle movement into the lower back. Think of the least amount of effort to create that movement. So making sure that the inner thighs are not falling, the bum is not clenching and stiffening, just a little tension at the front of the belly, helping me to pull the pubic bone up towards the breastbone, and then I'm just going to let it release. And then again I'm going to pull it towards the breastbone, and then let it release. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Then I'm going to keep the same tilt going, but instead of leading evenly with the right and the left side, I'm just going to focus on the right side. So I'm going to tilt the pelvis, so trying to bring the right hip up towards the rib cage. So the right side of the belly is shortening and tightening, the left is just following along. Then I'm going to ease back, and then I'm going to try again. So I'm going to tilt, but the effort is just on the right side, and then easing back. So the tilt is still there, but it's slightly wonky. Coming back and then trying again. So see if I can find a better connection into the right side of the belly, into that right hip. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And easing back. Same thing with the left side. So feeling that left side of the belly shortening and tightening to create that tilt. The right side is just relaxing, it's just been pulled along. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And then easing back. Then trying again evenly both for right and left side to see if I can feel the tilt a little bit more center. See if I can be aware of a nice even pull coming both between the right and the left side together. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And releasing back. Just a little bit more movement, flexion, extension. I'm going to encourage a little rotation. Same as I did with the shoulders, this time I'm going to repeat with the legs. So shuffling the feet and the knees nice and close together. Imagine to be squeezing an olive between the knees. I'm going to let the arms open up a little bit wider, helping me to counterbalance, and then together I'm going to take the legs to the right. So think of the hips are turning, so I want my hips to turn and face the side of the room, but I want my shoulders, my chest to stay relaxed or to stay on the ground. Then I'm going to ease that leg back to the middle and then turning the hips to the other side to see if I can turn my hips to face the side of the room, but keeping the shoulders, the upper body nice and relaxed. Easing them back to the center and then to the other side. The more you keep the knees together, so the more I keep the top leg climbed on top of the bottom leg, the more the body rotates. The more that top leg slides off and drops down, the more it is coming from my hip joint. So see if I can really be aware of the hips are turning. So what I want is for the back to rotate one side, coming back, and then to the other side. Trying to keep the arms as relaxed as possible, making sure that they're not pushing hard into the ground, the neck is not stiffening, you're not clenching the jaw, you're not tensing through the face and through the head. We're going to try one more time on each side. Last one. And releasing back. Resetting the legs back to the middle, adjusting the hips if you need to. Again, it's a little bit more movement down into the lower back. I'm going to work a little bit more in extension this time. So trying to get into the hips are trying to get into the glutes. So I'm going to extend the legs away along the mat, straightening up the legs. And then first the thing, trying to find the connection into the bum. So I'm going to start clenching my right bum cheek and relax it, and then the left and relax. So if the bum clenches, when the bum clenches, it tenses, it pushes the hip up. So the pelvis is slightly tipping to one side. As I relax it, it'll drop. As I clench the other way, I'll push up the other side. As I relax, it'll drop. So I'm going to clench, release, clench, release, clench, release. So if one side feels different from the other, I don't know, I feel one side is working really well, the other side is not working very well, and see if you can focus on that side, placing the hand onto that side of the bum, and then see if you can actually try to find a little bit more connection into that muscle, see if I can try and get into it. If I find that I can't work in isolation, I don't seem to be able to clench one side at a time, they both seem to be clenching together, that's fine. Just to focus on one side, tensing more than the other, and then gradually see if you can disconnect one side from the other. I'm going to try 4 more. Single, single, 3, 2, 1, and then I'm going to go double. So I'm going to clench both together and relax. Clench both together and relax. So squeezing up as if I was trying to drive my hips up and towards the ceiling, and then releasing. But making sure that the tension is coming from the bum. The tendency would be to start bending the knees so that I can use my hamstrings, or to start to tensing through the back, to see if you can think of just the back of the bum squeezing. 5, 4, 3, 2. On the last one, I'm going to squeeze it up. Hold that squeeze, and then I want you to take 6 breath, all in the belly, down in the chest. So I'm going to inhale and exhale. Keep squeezing with the bum. 2. Keep squeezing with the bum. 3, 4. Hold in the belly, down in the chest. 5. Last one. And I'm going to release the bum too. Relaxing the hips. I'm going to try and see if I can use that tension now. So bending the knees and walking the feet back up and towards you. Resetting the feet and the knees to that comfortable position that were before. Then once that you feel that the legs are set, then exactly the same as you did with the straight leg. Think of the drive coming from the bum. So I'm going to clench my bum cheek, and then I'm going to drive the hips up and towards the ceiling. See if I can get the bum to lift away from the ground, see if I can get the lower back, the back of the rib cage to lift away, until I can feel that the front of the hips are fully extended, the thighs are reaching out of the hip socket. And then I'm just going to ease my way back down, releasing it back. And then again, I'm going to squeeze with the bum, the hips up and towards the ceiling. And then I'm going to release back. And then it doesn't matter if the lift is very small or it's very big, just to see if I can be aware of that nice strong tension coming from the back of the bum, creating that little lift, and then dropping back, and then see if I can progressively try to make it harder, and then releasing back. And then same as you did for the clenching with the legs straight, if I need to, I'm just going to put the hands onto the bum and then see if I can find that connection. So can I feel the bum tensing when I'm driving up? Can I try and squeeze a little bit harder? Can I find a better connection through? 3, 2, last one, and releasing back. Relaxing the hips and releasing the legs. I'm going to give the hips a little bit of a stretch. So curling the right knee into the chest to supporting the right leg, curling that left knee into the chest to supporting the left leg. I'm just going to rock the legs forward and back a few times to see if I can stretch the lower back, stretch the back of the hips, stretch the back of the bum. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and releasing back. Releasing the hips and releasing the legs. There's a little bit more drive at the back. I want to bring the tension to the front. So starting off into your knee lift. If you need a little support, grabbing hold of a belt or a band, whichever one you've got, it could be like a long towel, it doesn't matter, and just I might pop the band behind the knee, so the arms are going to give me a little bit of a helper to move the leg. If I feel that I don't need the band, then I'm just going to keep the arms nice and relaxed. And then finding the connection into the front of the hip, I'm going to start lifting one foot off the ground. Then I'm going to ease that leg back, and then I'm going to pull up on the other side. Ease that leg back, and then pulling up the other way. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and releasing back. Allowing the hips, allowing the legs a little rest, and then I'm going to move into the arms. So starting with the arms are down by the side, focusing on the shoulder moving. I'm going to raise the one arm up in towards the ceiling and then start reaching the arm behind. So see if you can think of the front of the armpit opening, the shoulder lengthening through, just making sure that I'm not suddenly pulling it into my face or pulling it into my ear. Then I'm going to ease that arm back, and then with the other arm I'm going to do the same. So it could be a little reach, a big reach, it doesn't matter, just making sure that it's not catching on the shoulder, it's not creating pain, it's not creating discomfort into the shoulder, into the arm. And then one side might be feeling a little bit easier than the other. I might find that when I move the right arm, my back tends to arch slightly. That's my back compensating for stiffness into my shoulder. So see if I can be aware, can I keep the ribcage still? And then just move the arm into the shoulder socket. So the ribcage is not going up and down with the arm. As I feel that the shoulders are a little bit warmer, the movement feels easier, then I'm going to start moving both arms at the same time. So I'm going to lift them up, reach them back, and then I'm going to return them back. If one shoulder feels much stiffer than the other, always following the stiffer side. So not forcing that stiff side to go further. I don't want to create pain. So making the movement just a little bit smaller on the looser side. 3 more. 2. And then last one, I'm going to reach the arms back as far as I can without letting the arms touch the ground. Just if you can let your shoulders shrug right up to your head, right up to your ears. I'm going to pull the arms as far back as possible. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And releasing back. Bring the arms back by the side, relaxing the shoulders, and then going back into the legs. And this time I'm going to focus on one leg at a time. I'm going to bend the knees again if they're not already bent, shuffling the feet and the knees nice and close together. Keeping the right leg nice and still, I'm going to start opening that left leg out to the left. What I want is for my hips to keep nice and still, so making sure that my pelvis doesn't start rolling off to the side. So I want my hips to stay, the leg to move into the hip socket. Just to see if I can think of finding the connection into the inner thigh on that leg. I'm going to squeeze the leg all the way back in, see if I can bring the knees back together, and then I'm going to open that left knee out again. So imagine a little ball balancing in the center of the belly. As the leg moves, I don't want the ball to roll off to the side. Easing back. And then trying again. So it's trying to control the leg into the hip joint, to making sure that your left arm is not pushing into the ground to help If I find myself pushing, I'm just going to take the hand away or cross the arm onto the chest, just making sure that it's not the arm but it's the leg that is trying to create that movement. I'm going to try 5 more on this side. So control it out and then squeeze and back. Keep balancing the ball into the center of the belly. And then this time imagine a nice tall glass of champagne balancing on top of the right knee. Can you keep that glass there? But most important, can you keep the champagne in the glass? 2 more. Last one. And releasing back. Relaxing the leg, releasing the hip. I'm going to try and find the connection on the other side, on the right side. So same as I did on the left, I'm going to start opening that right leg out to the right. I want that left leg to stay still, so I'm balancing that nice champagne glass on top of that left knee this time, and then I'm just going to balance my tennis ball right into the center of the belly. So it's making sure that as the leg opens to the side, the pelvis doesn't start lifting, doesn't start moving in that direction. So it's not my hips are going to the side, it's just the leg moving into the hip socket. So see if I can be aware of that tension working through the inner thigh, into the groin, into that right side of the belly, all working together to create that reach and then that pull back. Making sure that the right arm is not pushing into the ground, so keeping it raised, crossing it into the chest that you feel that it's working a little bit too hard, I can't trust it, I'm just going to keep it away from the floor. Forward. And coming back. 3. And control back. 2. Last time. And releasing back, releasing the hips, releasing the legs. Just a little bit more connection through the inner thighs too. I'm going to go back into the arms, allowing the legs a little bit of a rest. This time I want the arms and the back to work together. So rolling over onto your side, setting yourself into your side line. Making sure that you've got something that you might pop underneath the head if you need to. So I'm going to use a block, but you can use a towel, anything. I'm going to bend the knees and tucking the knees up nice and high, so if I can bring them closer to the chest. The bottom arm, I don't want to crash it, so I'm not sitting onto it. I'm just going to try and reach it forward and then pull it through until I'm resting onto the back of the shoulder. So the ribcage is slightly turned to the ceiling already. Then from there, I'm going to press the knees together, keeping the legs down onto the ground. I'm going to start opening that top arm up and towards the ceiling, and now I'm going to turn. As you turn to the ceiling, imagine to be hugging the ceiling. So I'm going to turn to the ceiling and I'm going to try and hug the ceiling. So I'm going to reach the arms nice and wide to see if I can open up through the front of the chest, encourage movement into the back. Then I'm going to ease the arm all the way back, returning back to the front, and then I'm going to open up again. The first few movements are always the stiff ones, so don't force it. But more than anything, think of the arm that you're taking behind. You're taking the arm is not going on its own. So the tendency is to do that kind of thing, just to twist in the shoulder and dropping the arm. My goal is not to put my hand on the floor. My goal is for my chest to open up to the ceiling, for my back to try and turn and then open out to the ceiling, to the side. And then I'm going to ease back. So trying to find that position on the arm that allows the front of the chest to really open up, to really stretch away. Not too close, but to open. So see if I can try and keep the hand slightly higher than the top of the head, turning the head to follow that movement through, so that the neck doesn't tense, it doesn't stiffen up. And then every once in a while reminding yourself that the knees should stay together and they should stay on the floor. 4, 3, 2, and then last one, I'm going to hold it there. So hug in the ceiling, so you can reach that back arm a little bit further, opening up into the shoulder, making sure that you're not causing pain to the shoulder. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and releasing back. Giving the shoulder a little bit of a roll. I'm going to change the position. I'm going to try and work into the legs. So keeping the legs together, adjusting the legs, maybe not so closer to the body, just a little bit further away. I want the feet to stay together, the knees are to pull away from each other. So I'm going to adjust the position on the upper body, or rather use the arm, straightening up the back, and then squeezing the feet together. I'm going to start opening the top knee up, closing it back, and then opening again. What I want is to try and find the connection into the side of the hip, into the side of the bone. So see if you can try and avoid that rocking forward and back, that is just rolling the hips and then pulling the leg. Think of the leg lifting out into the hip sockets, to see if I can try and find that tension that allows me to create that lift. No matter how small it is, but see if I can try and lead with the hip, lead with the bum, not pull the all of the pelvis back. And then I'm going to ease that leg down. And then the leg will start getting heavier and heavier. The side of the bum will start feeling tender. If I need the rest, I'm going to take the rest. If I can keep it going, I'm going to keep it going. 5, 4, 3, 2, last one, and releasing back. Giving the hip a little tap, relaxing the hip, releasing the bone, and then changing the position. I'm going to work into the back, this time working in extension. So I'm going to roll over onto my front, roll over onto my belly. If you know that you can't go front, then I want you to roll over onto your back again. If you're on your back, you'll be working your extension, the same as we did in the warm-up. So I'm going to send the breastbone up and towards the ceiling. If I want to make it bigger, I'm just going to take the arms back, and then I'm going to release back. If you're down on your front, I'm going to set the hands just a little bit further forward than the top of the head. The arms are nice and wide. I'm going to connect the shoulders to the rib cage, and then reaching forward from the crown of the head, I'm going to start lifting the head and the top of the chest off the mat. Just a little lift, just to see if I can get the upper back to extend. Then I'm going to ease my way back down, and then I'm going to try again. If that felt comfortable, then on the next one I'm going to get into the upper back, and then pushing down into the palm of the hand to see if I can come up a little bit higher, see if I can extend into the lower back too. And then I'm going to ease my way back down again. No matter how shallow or deep the extension is, making sure that the movement is not causing pain down the back or any referred pain down the legs. This is not sciatica. The shoulders are connected, so see if you can think of reaching out of the shoulders as somebody was grabbing hold of the head and pulling you up, and then easing back. And then the closer your hands are to your shoulders, the sharper, the harsher, the stronger the extension becomes, as I can bend pretty much a 90-degree angle almost on the back. If I keep the hands a little bit further away from the shoulders, that makes the extension a lot softer a lot more gentle, a lot easier, as I can't push myself that far up. So try to find the position that works for your back, that works for your arms. We're going to try 3 more times. So extending your way up. And then easing your way back down. Last time. And releasing back. Giving the shoulders a little bit of a roll, the hips a little bit of a shake, and then we're going to move into your opening and closing doors on the other side. So turning to look to the other side of the room, or if you want, switching yourself around so that you can still see the video, otherwise just listening to the cue is exactly the same as we did on the other side. So I'm going to bend the knees, squeeze the legs together, supporting the head with something. I'm going to reach on the bottom arm away so that the back of the shoulder is resting on the floor. I'm not crushing the shoulder. And then I'm going to start opening that door on that side. So I'm going to take the arm up and towards the ceiling, turning the rib cage to face up and towards the ceiling, and then I'm going to try and give the ceiling a nice big hug. Then I'm going to ease my way back, and then trying that again. Same as on the other side. Don't think of your hand going on the floor. Think of that nice opening across the front of the chest instead. See if I can play with the position of the arm until I can feel that nice stretch across the front of the chest. And then I'm just going to ease my way back. The knees are staying together. They're staying on the floor. So the hips are staying still. It's just the rib cage that is moving. 5. And coming back. 4. 3. 2. Last one, I'm going to hold it there. Don't let the arm touch the floor. See if you can reach as wide as you can. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and releasing back. Giving the shoulder a little bit of a roll, and then I'm going to switch the effort down into the legs. So adjusting the upper body if you need to, changing the arm if that feels more comfortable, pushing the legs just a slightly down, but making sure that they're still together. I'm going to keep the feet together, and then I'm going to start opening up into climb on the other side. So I'm going to start lifting the knee up and away. The feet are staying together. The leg is moving into the hip socket. It's the same as on the other side. To see if I can avoid that rolling forward and back, or the rolling backwards, or the leg is just being pulled by the hips. See if I can be aware of the leg moving into the hip socket. So again, feel with the hand at the side of the hip, at the side of the bum. See if I can get some connection into the hip, into that side, to see if I can make that muscle work. And then same as on the other side. I decide my fatigue quicker. It'll get a lot heavier, a lot quicker. It'll start aching, or it might be my good side, so I might be able to go even further, even longer with that side. Either way, if I need the rest, I'm going to take the rest. If I can keep it going, I'm going to keep it going. 5, 4, 3, 2, last one, and releasing down. Giving the hip a little tap, relaxing the hip, releasing the leg. And then when you're ready, rolling over onto the back, we're going to give the legs a little bit of a stretch. Mark, if you're watching, this is just for you. Setting the band around your right foot. Oops, there you see. I'm going to straighten up the right leg as much as I can, and then keeping the leg straight, I'm going to gently pull it towards me until I can start feeling the stretch coming down the back of the leg. So see if I can create a little traction at the back of the leg, possibly into the back of the calf, holding that traction steady. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and release. Swapping the band over, left foot and goes round, the right leg comes down. I'm going to straighten up the left leg again as much as I can, and then gently easing that left leg towards me, noticing any difference. This side might be a little bit stiffer, so it might need a little bit longer, so just holding it steady there. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and ease and back. Pushing the band to one side, bending the knees, walking the feet up and towards you. I'm going to let the soles of the feet come together and then let the knees open out to the side, allowing the legs to drop. Encouraging the inner thigh to just passively stretch, so using the weight of the legs. Making sure that the pelvis is tucked under, so there is no arching into the lower back that might create pressure into the lower back as I'm doing so. If I want to make it a little bit stronger, that with the hands I'm going to reach on the inside of the leg and then applying a gentle pressure, see if I can get the knees to open up a little bit more. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and easing back. Squeezing the legs all the way back in, extending the left leg away along the floor, curling that right knee into the chest. Left arm goes around the leg, right arm out to the side to counterbalance, and then I'm going to gently pull the leg across the front of the body. As soon as I can feel the bum lifting off the ground, I'm going to keep it there. I'm not going to let it go any higher, and then pulling the leg across, holding the shin, the knee, the thigh, opening the knee, closing the knee, just finding the angle, the position that gives you the stretch that from the side of the hip comes up into the side of the leg. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and easing back. Dropping the leg down, curling that left knee into the chest, opposite hand to the knee, the other arm out to the side, and then gently pulling the leg across until you can start feeling the stretch coming down the side of the hip or the side of the bum. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and releasing back. Giving the leg a little shake, releasing the legs, relaxing the hips. When you're ready, reaching forward into the arms, tilting the chin to the chest, lifting the head, lifting the shoulders, all the way up into sitting. Joking, rolling over onto the side, pushing yourself all the way up. Finding your comfortable seated position, crossing the legs, opening, kneeling, staying down if you're comfortable there. Give me a nice deeper breath in. Just lifting up and towards the ceiling, finding the seat bone. See if I can send the breastbone up and towards the ceiling. Open up through the front of the chest. And then I'm just going to release. I'm going to let myself come forward, dropping down and towards the ground. And then again, I'm going to lift my way up and towards the ceiling. Extending, lifting through the back as much as I can. And then I'm going to let myself release, come forward, relaxing down. One more time. Extending your way up. Lifting up as high as you can. And then releasing your way forward, coming down. One hand to the belly, one hand to the back. Take your breath. Give yourself a pat on the back. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope I'll see you all soon.